What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. This is the Viwoods AiPaper. It is one of probably the thinnest and lightest e-ink devices, like writing devices, note-taking devices I've ever used. And I don't know, man, this thing is pretty special. We're gonna get into a review here in just a second. Before we do on this channel, we talk about tech from an intentional living and minimalist perspective. We like tech that marries form and function, tech that improves our lives and looks good while doing so. So if that sounds cool to you, please consider subscribing and like this video for more. Also, special thanks to Viwoods for sending this out for review. I've got a lot of thoughts about this. I'm excited to dive in. Thank you, Viwoods. If you'd like to pick yours up at any time during this video, link in the description. Let's get into it. Okay, so we're just gonna dive right in. I've got my overhead camera so you can see what I'm seeing. This is what you're met with. So first of all, you can see that the cover unlocks it, which is always fantastic. Things should always be that way these days with these devices. You can pick your little layout screen. I picked this one. I thought it was nice, got a little guy fishing. You'll notice here you've got a back button, a home button, and an AI button. We'll get to that in a minute. There is actually somehow an unlock button here with a fingerprint reader, but it's pretty insane they were able to fit that there. USB-C charging here as well. So if we go ahead and unlock it, this is sort of your home screen layout. And I think it's nice. I think maybe it could be a little bit better, but honestly, I think it's cool. It's different, it's sectioned off, very easy to use, very intuitive. And I think like if I were to give like a really quick overview of this device, it's like a Remarkable 2 with all of its like focus and intentionality, but with access to some of the apps that I miss when using the Remarkable. Kindle, Kobo, there's access to the internet here if you want it. There's access to the full Play Store here if you want it. It's not pushed on you. There's not a ton of things loaded on here. You can see there's 12 apps total, and one of them is the App Store. But for me, I probably won't be downloading anything else on here. I use Kindle. I can maybe use Libby. I use Kobo. There's Marvel on here too, which is neat, but those are the only apps that I want on something like this. Other than that, I want to take notes, right? That's what it's for. So you have this like sweet spot where some other competitors on the market throw a ton at you. Their hardware comes loaded with a bunch of software and applications and stuff, which is fine if you want that kind of functionality. But to me, that just quickly becomes a clunky tablet, right? And what I want here is a focused tool for writing to replace paper in notes and meetings. The other sleeper, maybe not so much of a sleeper, but you do have a dedicated function button to access ChatGPT or DeepSeek, so OpenAI or DeepSeek, which is fantastic. I think in my like day-to-day use of creating content and writing and newsletters and stuff for my 9-to-5 job, like I use ChatGPT all the time, definitely daily. And I think when using a device like this, especially with a keyboard or something and you're writing or typing, not having access to chat is kind of limiting in my opinion, for me at least in my use case. So having it built in right here and even having a dedicated button for it makes a ton of sense. And if you haven't gotten into AI too much yet, that might not be a big feature for you, but for someone like me who uses it a lot, huge. I love that. So you saw the apps, you have like learning, which you can do like PDFs and stuff, meeting notes here too. Paper is kind of just your notes section. I think that they've actually done sort of this daily planner really well. So there's like the whole month laid out with your daily tasks and stuff like that. You can have your 7-day of the week view. You can look at your single day here and see what events you have. I put this as a test on there. You can incorporate Google Calendar, I think, as well as Outlook, potentially. I haven't played around too much. This isn't something that I would necessarily use. I just have everything so baked into like iCalendar and Sunsama and stuff like that for my tasks and calendars. But if you wanted to like make this like your one and done device, this is like super nice and functional. I kind of played around with it and actually really like it. You'll also find AI features are littered throughout this as well. So AI assistant, generate an email, organize, like, I don't know. There's a lot of interesting stuff woven in. It's not just like chat as a button and a pop-up. It's woven throughout here as well, which is super cool. So you have the sidebar here too for your meetings and like your calendar. You can do your notes there, which I've played around with. Apps, email, access to the internet, even to like the Viwoods discussion forum is right here, right? You can access the internet, which is nice. A little clunky. Obviously, you don't have a 90 hertz refresh rate on here when scrolling, but it's there if you need it, which I think is great, personally, but it's not something that I need to just be like thrown at me and the main feature of this device. All right, so let's talk about the pen. The pen is decent. It's not my favorite. I think this just feels cheap hearing rattling in a device like this. That said, I don't think it is cheap. You have a couple different nib types. You have a more like felt tip kind of thing, and then a harder tip that you can choose from as well. Plenty of refills. You do have the function button on the pen, which I think probably all pens like this should have a button on here just for highlighter or whatever you want it to be. And then you do have the eraser here on the back, which is nice. That's where you get a lot of that rattling as well from that. So I think if they could tighten this up a little bit, it's not competing with something like the Supernote pen. I think the Remarkable 2 has a better stylus than this, but that said, it's not crap either. Like, it works fine. I enjoy writing with it. You'll find that the screen itself isn't like very, I mean, it's more smooth. It feels more like a glass screen, but because of this sort of like almost felt tip kind of thing here, you still get that sort of writing on paper experience. You can hear it. Kind of sounds like a marker. So yeah, I don't love it, but I don't hate it. It's fine. And I have actually something that's interesting. I'll pull up my notes from church yesterday, but I usually on these like the ballpoint or like fine tip writer, but I actually have found the calligraphy pen to be my favorite. I write in all caps, as you can see here, and I just think it looks really good. Yeah, writing experience on here is decent. I think it's great. All right, so as far as design and portability, I've gotten into it a little bit here, but this thing is just insanely thin. I think it might be the thinnest device I've ever used like this, and it's super light. It's not light like cheap light. It feels really nice. They have this sort of like aluminum bezel around the sides, and then I think glass here and glass here, which I think that actually is really nice. I kind of like that a lot. There's no like, you know, feet on here or anything, but I've kind of found like, I kind of leave it in here anyway, and because this leather or whatever it is has kind of grippiness here, like it gives you sort of like the feet. Is that what I'm saying? Trying to say, like, I know other devices will have like feet on the back of it, like the rubber feet. Why am I having so? That's what it is. They're feet. Calm down. Anyway, I just think the form factor is great. I think another thing they could work on. One, I do like the pen loop. I think every device should just have this built into the case. And also, if you don't want it, you can flip it here and it kind of just tucks away behind the device, which I think is also fantastic. I've seen a couple different devices take advantage of that. I think in here, there's actually extra pen tips, which is kind of interesting. You do need like a SIM card tool to remove them, but that's interesting. I think that this portfolio is a little flimsy, a little light. It feels a little cheap. I don't love the color. It's this kind of like gray brown, which I don't love. This could be a little more robust, maybe, but it's also thin, and that's why it's flimsy. So it keeps the whole like device also thin. So maybe that's just one of those give and take kind of things. If you want a really thin device, you got to go with thin material there for the folio. But I mean, to be honest with you, I really like this, and I think the next version they come out with is going to be just an absolute game changer, because if they can fix the tiny things here that are a little off, it's gonna be I don't know, I think it might just be one of the best on the market. There's not a lot wrong with this device. I think Viwoods, if you're watching, you could work on marketing a little bit, work on design a little bit here. I do like it though. So I don't know, maybe I'm just trying to find things wrong with it. I've really enjoyed it. And those are kind of my final thoughts. I've enjoyed reading comics on here, reading books on here, taking notes on here, and I think that's the extent of what I would use something like this for. And so I'm happy that this device has access to all of those things in a very focused and simple, minimal way. Viwoods, awesome job. Again, if you watching this want to pick one up for yourself, also they make a smaller version as well. So that might be an option for you too if you don't want one this big. This is the 10.3 inch, but they make a smaller version of this, which might be more your vibe. I don't know. Either way, links in the description. thanks again to Viwoods for sending this out. It's been a joy to use. I'm gonna continue using it and exploring it. If you have any questions that I didn't answer in this video, per usual, let me know in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching. We recently hit 20,000 subscribers, which is blowing my mind. I love you all so very much. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing. If you're not, if you're new here, like this video for more, watch this video next. I think you're gonna love it, and I'll see you all in the next one.